Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to review and also extract information from a dialog that you've already got up and running in your system. So let's open up a dialog. Now when you open it up, it could be in either design or execute mode. You'll need to switch it over to execute mode to get the information that we're after. We'll just be looking at some basic information in this video. Now when you're in execute mode, you'll notice the top ribbon in the execute tab. There are buttons on the side here for participant summary and operation log. These are the ones we're going to be going through today. So a question you might have is, who has been through this dialog and what kind of communication have they received? So let's click on participant summary to start with. Shrink that box. Okay, so at a glance we can see each of these member groups that are in your dialog here, and you can see how many participants lie within each group. Now let's say we want to have a closer look at the participants within a particular group. Has received email. We just click on View Participants. Now in the top window you'll see all of the participants within that group, or all of the ones here, the maximum here is 200. There were just over 1800 in this group in total, so you can change that amount here. It'll just take a little bit longer to load. So in the top window you'll see all the data for the customer, and in the bottom window there are some tabs worth having a look at too. This first one here, participant summary. Unfortunately there's no data in there at the moment, but if you have tracked or enabled participant logging, you'll be able to see the customer's journey through the dialog in this tab. You can see what messages that customer has received and when, any questionnaires that they have responded to, and any activities or tasks that have been set for them. Up in the top window again, there's a whole lot of columns here that might not be relevant, but if you'd like to take some out or put some more in, the way you do that is just to right click anywhere within that window and select columns. And on the left hand side is anything that's there, on the right hand side is anything that's available. So what we might do, I find these ones very handy, entered dialog and last moved. We'll just pop them over to the left hand side, and you can also move them up the list. So these two fields will give you at a quick glance when that participant came into the dialog and when they last moved from one group to another. Click OK and it'll just take a second to refresh, and there's that info now on the left hand side. You can go one step further with this now as well and look at a particular customer within Customer View. So let's just select any customer and go to Open in Customer View. Now in Customer View you might want to have a closer look at some of the activities that have been involved with this customer, which is especially handy if the enable participant logging hasn't been checked for this dialog. You can check what kind of messages this member has received and what dialogues they've been a part of. So let's click on the Dialogues tab. And here's a full list of all the dialogues this member has ever been part of, and any messages they've been sent is seen in here. So we'll close that down and head back to our dialog. So we've got our list of participants here. Say you want to export this list of participants. All you need to do is click on this export button, and this will export the full list, not the maximum that you have displayed, not any that you may have just selected. It'll export the whole entire list. So if you've never exported a list before, I believe the default should be this top radio button here. You'll just need to change that to be Microsoft Excel. Give your file a name and also point it towards a directory. Click Next. Up the top window here you'll see the full list of data groups or tables that you can export information on. The more you select, the longer it'll take to export that information. So if you select just one table, click on Details, you'll see all the variables available within that table that you can export and review. So let's just unselect them and let's just look at RIM numbers and perhaps branch name. Okay. Then click make sure the Export All is selected and Finish. It'll prompt you to open, or if you want to open up the file to view it. Unfortunately within the server, you won't be able to view the file, but for whatever directory you saved it in, just copy, paste it, and put it onto your local desktop, and you'll be able to view it from there. Okay, so that covers how to view participants within the dialog and look at the different communications they may have been sent. Okay, so another thing you might need to know is, or you might want some more information on a particular operation, when it was run and what happened during that run. You do that through the operation log. Let's just shrink that. Okay, so now you can see all your operations here matching the operations that are in your dialog, and you can have a quick check at how many participants have moved through each operation and how many runs that have been executed for that particular operation. This dialog was an ad hoc or a once-off campaign, so there's only one run, but you may have some ongoing campaigns like new customer comms or birthday comms, and with those ones you'll see that number is quite large. So let's just have a look at one of these operations. Let's have a look at a divide operation. So down the bottom there are several tabs again. We've got a summary, all runs, and a time graph. All runs is probably the one you're going to be wanting most of the information from. You might want to have a look at how many participants moved through each particular branch and what date that happened. So we just expanded that, and we can see that has email is the first priority branch and no email has mobile is the second priority, and you can see how many participants moved through each one. Another operation that you might want to check is the top operation, the select operation. So this will tell you, again, if it's an ongoing dialog, you'll see lots of runs here, and you can check to see when the dialog was first executed and whether that was a successful operation or not, or whether there were any problems. Any errors that may occur will have a little red dot, and so you'll be able to expand on those errors and see what happened. Well, that covers the basics for just checking out and getting some quick data on a dialog that's already in operation. We'll go through the reports that you can pull directly from a dialog in a separate video. But just before we finish this one, the participant summary and operation buttons up the top here are a nice quick way to have a look at the data. But if you feel more comfortable, you can also look at the data, the same data, directly from the groups and operations in the dialog just by right-clicking. So if you want to view participants in this group here, eligible customers, you just right-click and view participants, and you go about doing the same thing we did before. You can also click on an operation, right click, operation log, and again it'll show you what we saw before.